Call this meeting to order. Let's start with the roll call. Let me see here. Do I have... Oh. Who's handling that?
Usually the secretary.
Okay. Let me go through my...
That would be Clark.
Excuse me?
Call the roll.
Yeah.
I do? That's new. Okay. Alright. Let's see.
Could probably get it off the minutes.
Yeah.
Michael wasn't on here.
Michael Bryant?
Here.
Okay. Joey Markowski?
Here.
Mr. McMullen?
Here.
And Miss, excuse me, I'm sorry. Ramsey, thank you.
Present.
And absent is Kyle Christopher. And anyone else?
Jeffrey Freer.
Right, yeah. All right.
Okay.
So you have a quorum.
We have a quorum. Okay. And then we need to get the approval of the agenda.
Now, normally the way I handle it is that you ask if anybody has any additions to the agenda, either staff or the commission members. And if you don't hear any, then you declare the agenda set.
Do we have any additions to the agenda from the staff or the members? Okay. So the agenda that we have in front of us is the agenda we are going to go off of. Has everybody read the minutes from the last meeting?
Yes.
Yes. Are there any?
Is there a motion?
Yep, I'll make a motion to approve the minutes from the last meeting.
Okay, second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, minutes are approved. All righty, so we are going to start with review and approval of the Enclave Estates site plan. Is there anybody here to present that?
Good evening. I'm Jake Chavis with Odyssey Engineering, here on behalf of Enclave Estates and the next item in the agenda as well. I'm just going to briefly give an overview about this project. So we are located kind of at the corner of Lynn Lane and what is that other street? And Jean Street. It's a rather large piece of property, I believe close to 40 acres. This particular let me back up just a little bit. So all three of these projects that you're going to hear about tonight are on the same piece of property currently. Next month we will have a lot split to show you all, so you can see how the properties are going to be split up more specifically. But you can generally tell from our overall site plan layout located on page C 1.1. And this gives one more up if you don't mind.
Next one?
Yeah, to the top of the page, yeah. Yep, right there. So the actual property line as it sits now with the county actually includes all of this piece too. All of this. So next month when we come back, we're bringing a track split to you guys to look at. And it's going to separate these into 4 different tracks. Track 1, Track 2, Track 3, and Track 4. But tonight, all we're seeking approval on is just the large-scale development located on what will be Track 2.
Okay.
On Track 2, we are proposing 60 townhomes with associated parking and drives with a total of 122 spaces and 10 handicap spaces. We are proposing a connection through existing right-of-way onto Jean Street, located right there on the southern boundary. That little piece through here is city-owned property right now that we are proposing to build the street to the current Master Street Planning standards and city specifications when we build that street out. As far as drainage goes, we are proposing a detention pond in this area here to slow runoff to pre-development standards. We are proposing a storm water distribution network throughout the site that will collect runoff and direct it towards this detention pond here. We are also proposing a public water main built to your public standards that will be dedicated to the city after construction. Will be tied in down here along Jean Street, and it will be an 8-inch water main that will be looped through the project area here to provide things like hydrants on site, enough meters for each individual unit, etc. That will be dedicated inside of a utility easement for the city to access and be able to maintain that line after construction. As far as the sewer distribution network, we are proposing that all the sewer on site be private, and it is going to tie into your public sewer main here along the east side of the parcel there. We are proposing, so provided the city with a little bit of an updated set here, and we've been talking with your fire marshal on trying to find the best way for this property to meet fire code. One of the things we've been struggling with is two forms of egress and ingress to the site. So the state says generally when you have more than 30 units on a singular piece of property, they want 2 ways to get in and out of the site. So that's kind of what this road is initially for. We have relocated that road to follow along the property line here and connect into the parking lot for the other project that I'm talking about on the next item. And I'm here for any questions if you have any.
Okay. Did the staff, did the staff have any comments?
I will say, and I'm leaning back to Rob to kind of say, overall, excellent job showing what we're looking at. And this is one of our first large-scale site development proposals. We looked at one last year. Since there are multiple buildings involved, no change in zoning required. It's a unique situation. It does not get into subdividing, but it is a large-scale development where we are applying the design standards of our subdivision regulations into this plan.
Is there any concern as far as it not meeting, as it's presented here, does it meet everything that the staff is required?
How we look on utilities as far as, I mean, you say he's building everything to code, but where he's connecting to, how's our systems at that point for good?
And then the question regarding the access as well. I mean, there's only one point of access off of Lynn Street, which goes to Broadwater. So you're planning on doing the 60 with the one point of access at this time.
So we actually have, and this is a little bit of more of an updated plan here. So you can see our main street, our main access through Jean Street, but there's another road we're proposing right through here. And then this connection will be able to follow all the way up along to Broadwater.
Okay.
So you have the Broadwater has other subdivisions that border it. So where's the access that's coming to Broadwater? I guess I'm trying to figure
There's a piece that's owned there that goes to Broadwater.
Okay.
Yeah, so this is where Broadwater runs, right.
Okay. So this is Reeves Addition that's here that has, is there a roadway that comes off of?
That's undeveloped. That's the part of the subdivision that was never developed. I don't even know if it's, I think it's meets and bounds. it was apparently going to be a phase that just never got developed.
The whole thing was, I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I said, I know there was Reeves Edition, Baker's Edition, which this was partly Baker's at one point in time, and then, but, okay. So, but there, I mean, there again, there's no concern other than with the access that's currently in place that will be there.
The Bakers, see the half dozen lots over that? That's the north tier of lots.
So we've got Gene right here.
That's on June.
And that's where it ended.
Okay. And then, like I said, I know Lynn Street, which comes up through here, there was a roadway that comes off of, basically that would cut back through there, so.
Yeah, so there'll be another access.
Get this up here.
When the
That's
other
okay. Thank you.
one's built. So there'll be two actually accesses.
Eventually, there'll be two, but at the time being, there's
I
only
think
one.
I don't want to put this in terms of what we're entertaining, both these projects are going to go very simple.
Simultaneously?
Do you
Yeah.
have the drawing that shows the second, I can't remember what it was called, but,
The upward housing. Okay, if we're gonna, we can go ahead and look at both of them just so that it's on the record. My company is,
Well, but first,
you know,
what you need to understand is that these are two separate things. We're looking at the Endeavor right now. It's a large-scale development. It's under review by the Planning Commission. You have to take action on that. The second one is not ready. It'll be coming before the March Commission meeting, so we can get an overview of how it ties to this, but we will not be acting on that.
correct. I just wanted to make sure, since we will be looking at it for access, that my real estate company does have is part of the sale of what will become the upward housing project, just so that's on the record. Okay, so we're looking at this just to make sure that we're comfortable with the proposed second ingress egress, correct? Okay, continue.
As long as the second phase two, what I'm calling phase two, that second part down there, as long as it goes through, I'm good with the way that they've got it all laid out. Fire department is okay with it.
All right, so Rob, so how would we move forward on a vote? Would we do it contingent on this other?
It's my understanding that there will be a submission and a request to go on the March agenda.
There will, yeah, we anticipate being on the March agenda, yeah. And there will be a public access dedicated on the upward housing projects that goes from Broadwater Lane to this second port of egress ingress. So the access easement will be there. And if it's a requirement by Planning Commission, we can see if we can make that happen before it's all built.
All right, so how do we go about on a vote?
I think what you're voting on is the hard copy that he's got there and
Yes.
not what's on the screen.
Agreed.
And it's predicated on staff's comfort level with it. If they approve of what's in the hard copy, then I think you're free to approve.
Okay. So do I have a motion to approve the proposed site plan, the most updated one, for Enclave Estates?
So this plan here is the separate plan that he's, that y'all have already reviewed, approved, and what he did, said there, okay. So, I'll make a motion to approve.
Have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. All right. So do we want, our agenda is presentation of the upward housing development.
Yep, so I requested that. I'm here anyway. We know it's probably coming for the March agenda. I just wanted to bring this to you guys to take a look at, go over it briefly, in case you did have any questions for me, that I could maybe go back to our clients, get some more information to present to you for the March meeting. I'll start with the senior side, well, you've already got the family side pulled up, so I'll talk about that one first. We are proposing 40 units with this family side here. We just kind of looked a little bit at the location of this. So Jean Street is that one just to the right here. Lynn Lane, this is the intersection, Jean Street and Lynn Lane. This is where Enclave Estates is proposing that road. So here we've got, again, 40 apartment-style units. They're going to be 2-story, I believe. And we have 122 parking spaces associated with this development. Sewer is going to be brought in from Broadwater Lane and brought up through the development. Water is going to be tied into a similar connection point along Lynn Lane and Jean Street. We have a detention pond located at the southeast corner of your page there. Same type of scenario as Enclave Estates. We're proposing a stormwater distribution network to collect everything on the site. The purpose of the detention pond is to lower our peak flows to below, at or below pre-existing conditions there. We have several handicap parking spaces, dumpsters located on site, hydrants located on site, and I'm here for any questions on that. If you have any more, we'll go to the senior side now. So these are quadplexes.
What's that labeled?
Yep, so, there's two
Oh, there you go.
Waystone housing plans. One is the family side, so this is the senior side. They are 1-story, 4-plexes. As you can see, 2 units are accessed here, 2 units are accessed on the other side of the building. Similar scenario, we have a detention pond associated with this and a stormwater network running through the southeast corner of the project. We have a water distribution network that will be dedicated to the city with access or utility easements. And then the sewer system will be private, but it will tie into the public system below, right on Broadwater.
How many total units?
This is 40. So the family side is 40 and the senior side is 40, with a total of 80 units between those two projects.
Okay.
And we have reached out to your sanitation guy, and he's approved the dumpster location, saying that they can fit their trucks in, and he likes the location.
All right.
I'll add this, even going back to the first one that was just approved, these guys, the engineering firm, we asked that they notify all the adjoining property owners, which they did, and we appreciate that. I believe you've got some calls, a couple of questions.
Yeah, I think I've gotten 2 or 3 calls. So we notified everybody adjoining the property on all sides. I got 2 or 3 phone calls, and all of the phone calls were just, hey, what are y'all planning on doing here? Nothing in opposition, or at least that they didn't speak to me, that they had any opposition to the project. I encouraged them, if they wanted to know more about the project, come to the Planning Commission meeting, come speak, and learn more and ask questions. So.
And I'll echo that, Chad. We've had multiple people say, yes, I got a letter. So I would say I feel great as a commissioner that nobody was concerned enough, but I feel that a lot of people were very aware in the neighborhood that this was being presented. So
Moving forward, that's going to be our staff, our objective is we're going to do everything we can to let people know any action request.
okay, I think
They complain, but that's one thing they're not going to complain about is they didn't have an
Agreed.
opportunity to.
Was there anything from the staff that we need to be aware of that they're working on that, before next month?
Chief's put a lot of work in with these guys on a lot of fire codes on the different buildings. But, if we would not have had the weather we had, I feel pretty good that we would have been able to present it as everything checked off the checklist.
We do have another meeting scheduled with staff. I think I emailed you about it. You may not have had a chance to look at it yet. Just requesting another meeting on these two pieces, the family and senior, just to wrap up anything else that could possibly be, they could have an issue with, that we would need to revise before we come back next month.
All right.
And then we will be notifying again, since this one didn't quite make it on the agenda for approval, we will be notifying the joining property owners again, so that way they will be notified of the new meeting date for these two projects.
Okay. All right, anything else? Thank you, sir.
Yep, thank you guys.
All right, moving forward.
Just if somebody wants to speak to this.
If you guys have any questions on the projects, I'll stick around.
You want to just ask them specifically? Okay, the lady and gentleman that just entered,
Yes.
yeah, they just came in.
I thought it was 6.
5:30.
Oh, what?
There's a six.
Oh, there's a 6.
Oh,
I'm happy to go over anything. If you have any questions?
It's a 6.
It does say 16.
No one will stop me. Could you go back and
Absolutely.
let's kind of go over the project again?
I'm sorry.
no, you didn't do anything wrong.
We'll wait, it's 5:53, we'll get, there may be some more people to show up. We want you, we appreciate you coming and want you to have.
Just post the agenda and move to number 8.
Yeah, okay. All right, while we wait for 6 o'clock to arrive, we're going to move to number 8. Discussion about future development of the Old Grays Hospital site. Again, I need to declare that I am owner of part of that site still, so just want that to be on the record. I'll let Rob and Chad start on this.
You spoke to it at the last meeting that I wasn't here, that the Old Grace Hospital is going to be torn down. Is that the idea?
There is a joint project with the city of Batesville and the owner to have the buildings demolished. And my understanding is the result of this will be housing that will be made available for part of the property, which leads to the question of the zoning area. It's zone T1 commercial, which T1 allows apartments. It allows apartments upstairs by permitted right, no special waivers or conditions. It also allows by conditional use permit apartments on the first floor, not on the street side, which T1, that's your old downtown frontage buildings. And so to me, the intent was, well, they wanted to preserve the downstairs street sides for the original commercial use. Hotels, motels are permitted by right. We have some similarities that's in there. So looking forward on how to make this work in that area, you've got to consider, well, if you rezone it, if you propose to rezone it to R2, which allows is multifamily, The problem there is it would basically be a spot zone. There's not R2 adjoining it. So you look at C1, apartments are not allowed in C1, which again would be spot zoning. T1 is the area that's around it. Another option is planning or development. However, the size of the site, I think, would probably, in my opinion, would not be the best fit. So you go back to the existing zone, it's T1, and you're really close for that being a permitted use. If you struck the language of, if you allow apartments, if you took out the language about having apartments on the street side, and keep that even as a conditional use permit, that would make this project a possibility.
Let me mention one thing. Technically, they will not be they're not on the street because there will be a lot between the front of these and the street.
Now, what's the ultimate proposal for the entire piece?
I have not seen the detail. All I know is there will be apartments proposed to be constructed.
There'll be brownstones. There'll be
Yeah.
townhouses, and they'll be between 6 and 8 total.
Or is the option of the space adjoining Main Street still being city green space?
Yes. These will not touch Main Street.
What is the designation that's on here, the circle, because we're talking about Main Street, this circular, that's on College.
Hey, Rob, the circle's in the wrong spot.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Well, it's real close.
you were close, you were very close.
These would actually,
Yeah, yeah.
The fire station's together.
close.
But either
I am
way-
not tearing down the fire
But either
station.
way, you're fronting, you're not fronting Main, you'd be fronting Fourth and you'd be fronting Water. if
Correct.
anything. So you're really not interfering with any,
The parking would most likely come off of Water
yeah.
Street. So,
So, I
And then
mean, if they did city green space against Main Street and he did apartments in the back, then T1 is fine, right?
And your
the way I
yellow,
read it.
yellow line, is that the, what is that exactly, that kind of goes
Yeah, what
around
is
through
that?
there? Is that
That's the
historic?
downtown commercial historic district.
Okay, so, well, it's if it's the back portion, it's not even taken within that.
Correct.
So, unless, because I think if I'm not mistaken, it splits it, basically.
Well, if I ever got the map right, we'd know.
And there are residential units on that Water Street that adjoin this. So it would flow with that, and it would not connect to Main Street.
Just thinking in advance, because we don't really know what precisely is going to happen. But what can happen is dictated by both the land use plan and the zoning. And that the zoning pretty well dictates that it's got to, the only way you can do residential is above the first floor, permitted by right, or the street side has to be commercial, at least in the front, in order to be allowed conditionally. If those two aren't what's going to happen, if it's just totally residential, then that would require a rezone, which would require a change in the land use plan. So you have to ask yourself at this particular location, what makes sense given that some form of residential is likely? Do you want to, there is a provision in the land use plan about mixed commercial residential. It's not shown here because we just figured at the time that the commission was looking at this, that it was currently a commercial kind of use, and we didn't know what was going to happen in the future. So I think no matter what happens, a revision to the land use plan, given that the location, wherever that circle's supposed to be, is going to be some form of residential. What the actual form is depends on the zoning. But either way, it would be wise for the land use plan to anticipate a residential use as opposed to commercial as it currently is shown. So I would suggest that no matter what else happens, that you probably ought to hold a public hearing to consider amending the land use plan for that location. as if you are in agreement that residential in some form or fashion would be appropriate at that location. And a public hearing, you could get citizen comment, and you wouldn't have to decide immediately after that, but it would give you some information about what direction you should go.
Where's the nearest residential?
Right across, right,
Across the
just across the street.
Water, the whole strip of waters and.
But nothing that's been proposed goes against the current zoning.
Right.
So why would you, if anything, change the front half of it on Main Street to public property when it's dedicated and leave the rest of it as T1 as not to spot zone? And if something is proposed, then go from there.
Spot zoning.
Because the apartments that are
occurs if
proposed currently, the ones that don't exist, meet the T1 requirement.
If it met, well,
Does it have to have commercial on the first floor if it does not touch Main Street?
This,
Main Street isn't the issue, is it? It's whether it fronts a street.
yeah, I don't think it talks about Main Street specifically. I think the language is this, the intent was the buildings like on Main Street, so you don't drive down Main Street and
Yeah, agreed.
have someone's living room right there, you know, but, that's the question we're at. If it's set back, do we need any type of action, or does the commission say, hey, we feel like this meets the code? Or do you feel like, well, let's go back and amend the code so there's no question about it? That's what I'm trying to look down the road, trying to think.
I don't think we need to make any changes until something's proposed.
Well, in either event, it sounds like some form of residential, and if that particular area was classified in the land use plan as mixed or combination residential or commercial, that would clear the way for whatever's going to come.
Okay.
I mean, and then just kind of touch on this too, I mean, even if it's a conditional use, I mean, I know there's a house that's on Water Street currently that was zoned residential that got a conditional use that is for apartments, but, I mean, it's kind of a case by case with this particular project. You'd think the conditional use might be what is probably required for something like that, but just my 2
I would
cents.
say at a minimum.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, well, then I'll get with Chad to do the land use plan.
And if things move further along and it's absolutely utterly clear that no change in zoning is going to be necessary because they're further along in defining what they do, you don't have to amend the plan after the public hearing, but you have to have the public hearing if you want to consider it.
Okay, that's fair. All righty. All righty, let's see here. So we're going to go over, is there any of the old business that needs to be discussed? I don't think so. All right. Moving forward to any new business that needs to be discussed. It's not on the agenda
You could take a 10-minute break.
for them.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, let's go ahead and take a 10-minute break and let them discuss that with the engineering firm.
And I want to compliment the secretary of this commission for the work he's done on the minutes. They have been great.
Yeah. Very clean. Very clean.
To everyone's surprise, especially my wife. I am not the person that should be doing this, but I'm doing my best.
Oh, we appreciate it.
I did like the letter then, though. I feel, I mean, hopefully this, knock on wood here, is fine, but, I mean, everybody in that neighborhood was aware that this was on the docket, so they can make their own decision.
Who composed, is the letter that they received from?
From the engineering firm.
Or the engineering firm?
Engineering firm, so. And I think there's actually something in the code that says that you're supposed to do that anyway. I remember reading it when I went over that.
Yeah, and The strongest part of the language occurred when a subdivision or any kind of development occurred outside of the city limits. When that got taken away, that got stripped from the code. So there is still requirements in there for public hearing, but I'd have to go back and look at it again. But the large-scale development's quiet about it.
Interesting.
The fact that they did it is just a good idea. And if they were willing to do it, that's a good idea. I think I've mentioned this before, that these subdivision regulations were prepared by a land use attorney out of Little Rock shortly about the same time that the entire planning commission resigned, after there was a flare-up over teed-off subdivision. I don't know anything about the history of that thing. And what he did was he cherry-picked from various codes that he saw, Little Rock and some others, and some of the things don't fit together. The definition of a split lot, for instance, says that a split lot application can only apply to a platted lot. And but the language in a split lot application says it can also apply to tracts. But that's not the same thing as what the definition says. And I think in the past, it has observed split lot applications for tracts because that word is in the application section. That's where there's some disconnect in the current regulations. My interpretation is you go by what the definition says, regardless of what's in the language in there. And there's a couple of instances where that's going on. I appreciate the fact that the staff has been very responsive to starting to tighten up this thing, because my objective before I leave all of this is that things that come to the Planning Commission are ready for the Planning Commission to approve. And what's happened in the past, and this is an editorial comment on my part, that the Planning Commission has been operating as it did when it was created in the 60s, when there was no staff. There's no city engineer. The commission was taking care of stuff. And the things that are coming across right now are more than a planning commission can handle. Staff has to handle that. But we're starting to get used to the idea that the applicant has to prepare materials and it has to be reviewed by staff, and it shouldn't rely on the planning commission to know what to do. I mean,
agree with
it's
that.
just that simple.
I agree with that.
No, but it needs to be explained to the planning commission.
Yes.
And preachers without Bibles is what this is. Has anybody pulled the code out? Does anybody look at the code?
Yeah.
We're going off of your memory. So I do not like things coming to this commission that discuss, say, this zoning on this T1. Pull the code out. What does it say? You can't make a decision without knowing what it says, and it matters. If it says Main Street, we don't have an issue. He can build what he wants to back there. Dedicate the front to the city, make a nice park, build all the apartments you want to back there. It probably fits within the code. If it doesn't, go from there. But read it. Use it. It is one of the most thorough subdivision codes, and throw subdivision, the word, out the window. It applies to everything. I don't care what you're doing. It applies to everything.
It does.
We should not be this large-scale development. We should not be approving a site plan. We should be approving a plan development document that includes a lot more than just this site plan, that includes all these agreements with the city on what kind of sewer pipe and what kind of water main and what kind of wheelchair ramps.
It's all been submitted. You just haven't
I get
seen
it, but the planning commission knows nothing.
You rely on staff on that one.
Again, like you said, we're functioning like it was in the 60s. Planning commissions today, the staff presents, the staff does this work, has it laid out, presents it to the commission. It doesn't get pushed through immediately. It goes through the public hearing process and multiple meeting process, and things get approved. It's long-term.
How long have y'all been working on that road?
2 months?
So we're relying on staff who've been working on it, who've been paid to do their job. So, as a committee, yeah, we lean on them for their expertise.
Yeah, and so, like I said, they need to be able to present to us each and...
They're present here telling us that they've reviewed it.
That's not the way it works. This is your vote.
Right.
So when you vote, that's your responsibility.
We rely on their expertise.
I'm going to
Too
cycle
much.
through this because you haven't seen it, but this is what the staff was reviewing.
Like I said, on a large-scale plan development, the staff's going to have to do, they're going to have to make all these agreements.
So you want to check fire code, you want to check engineering code,
I want them to come present this to us as an entire package and say, yes, we've checked fire code. Yes, this meets all of our street standards. Not, well, we don't know exactly what the subdivision code says. Subdivision code is entirely clear. You can't do 3 houses on a private road.
So that they've already checked their boxes.
He doesn't know what the subdivision code says.
But he knows the fire code.
He knows the fire code as far as how the building's constructed or what water he needs to hook up to.
And everything.
He didn't know what the subdivision. I know,
I
but
asked him. I literally just asked him.
and a couple of months ago, when I had a conversation with him and told him that was in the subdivision code, he had no idea that it was in there.
Well, I mean, our job, understand, you come from a different perspective than all of us do. And we each bring our own strengths and weaknesses. As a committee, we're not supposed to be engineers. You have a different knowledge, I'll have a different knowledge. The average committee person should not be able to look at that and know every bit of the engineering that's in that. That's why we rely on the city engineer.
That's right.
We should not know, we don't have to know fire
Yeah.
code.
No, you don't.
Or rely on that. So
No.
this is a complete package that has been completely reviewed by the paid staff, and they have told us, each individually, that the engineer approves it, the fire chief approves it, code enforcement approves it. That is as complete a presentation as we could get tonight. I mean, this thing has everything in it, and they've approved it. Our job is to be a banker, to be a realtor, to be an engineer, to come here as the committee and say, has it gone through the steps? And it has. It's our job to say, okay, is there anybody in the public that has a valid reason not to approve this? And if they don't, we need to approve it because they've done their job. Our job is to make sure that we take it the next step so it can go to city council and they can do their step. If we get to the point where we're going through this page by page, that's not our job. That's not our role.
I mean, we can't give an engineer's opinion. I mean, that's again, Damon's he's a city engineer. He's reviewing and making sure all his boxes are checked. Code enforcement. I mean, it's coming to us for review to hear the concerns of the public, and then we make we rely on them to tell us, what did you find your findings in your paid time while you're doing your job.
I mean, it's no different than the mayor getting counseled before he makes a decision to present to the city council.
I get it. My point is just that as a member of the planning commission, you should feel confident, obviously y'all do, but you should feel comfortable with the level of competence that you have in what they've looked at and whether or not they...
We can't micromanage professionals.
Nobody's micromanaging anybody.
What are you suggesting?
You have to take some trust, because I sat in the video meeting, the 2 of them, and I watched the staff asking questions and insisting on certain revisions to be made. So I'm satisfied that they took a comprehensive look at all of this.
Well, I'm not
if they
speaking
say
about
it
this
meets the
one in
city's
particular.
requirements, I'm good.
I'm not speaking about this one in particular. This is the best one I've seen so far, the most thoroughly discussed one, but...
It's like I said, we're getting there. That's why, in a couple of the agenda packets that I've given you, I've done the start of a staff review. It's not the technical kind of review, because I'm not qualified to make a technical review. That's not what I do. My review is based on whether it meets the requirements of the zoning code of the subdivision regulations to that particular application. And if it doesn't, I let them know that. And it gets amended, they will go back to the applicant and say, you can't do this, or this one's fine. But beyond that, all of this detail, I don't understand that stuff. I can spell engineer.
Chad, could you put your nose in there and see if there's anything that we need to address, or can we finish this up?
I think they've got a camera on us now.
I think it's been there the whole time.
But
Today.
I think we brought that up because that camera up there didn't catch anybody speaking back here.
I think we had.
There's a camera back there?
So I'm pretty sure it was in January. The camera was, well, you weren't here last month, but yeah.
Check your phone.
You get one of those ones you do the walkie-talkie thing on?
John, excuse me, John.
That's what going. You want to try that one?
Harrison is. Let's take but I need my client's answer.
Hey, we got half the letter part right. Just got to get the time right next time.
I'm making a note to check that.
Well, yeah, I was about to say these, is city staff reviewing the letter that goes out before it goes out?
We're good? Okay. That would be,
Now, most of the time, what's required is that they check the letters against the register after they've been mailed, for confirmation that they have been mailed.
would it be,
It would make sense for city staff to review and approve the letter before it goes out for accuracy.
Well, what is it? Was it a city letter or was it a letter that?
it was a letter the engineering firm sent, which is fine, but would it be?
The applicant sent it.
The applicant sent, would it be better just to have the city have a template that?
Well, I'll tell you what Sherwood does.
Just have them
not
send
that
the
it's
city
best
one
in the
too when they
world.
send it, and if somebody sees something.
What
say
Sherwood does is they get a list of the properties adjacent to the development. By that time, they know what the proposal is going to be, and they give the applicant the list of the property owners.
Okay.
Address, name, and everything.
It'd still be a good idea if somebody's sending out letters, just go ahead and send one to the city too, so they can have it on file to prove, hey, yeah, we know these people sent out letters.
It's hard to correct false information. Usually what gets out first is what's removed.
Agreed.
But-
And it would be good for somebody to review the, at least date and time, so. And then the other thing, Chad and I had this discussion was, once a letter goes out, there's pressure on us to make sure we meet, So, anyway, all right, do I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Second?
Second.
All in favor? Thank you, guys.